Hi, everybody. I hope you're all doing well and find yourself in good spirits. Today, I have some bad news. It seems like black and brown relations might have taken a step backwards. I see a lot of people on YouTube almost trying to outcompete each other to be the champion of black and brown relations. And whatever their motivation, even if it were to be self promotion, if they succeeded in bringing people together as opposed to dividing them, that's a good thing. And so, really, I would want all of them to succeed at unifying different groups of people together. I think, as just a piece of guidance there, it will help if you have a goal not of unification, but of addressing a specific issue that is harming both of your communities. And stopping the violence might be a saturated area. There are other things you guys can focus on, and that's how you guys stay unified because you're attacking this issue. I would recommend systemic racism. Anyways, as you may have seen if you follow Los Angeles local news, the president of the city council, Nuri Martinez, has resigned as president. And there were a bunch of protesters in the news story I saw outside her house, most of who were Raza. A lot of them were waving Mexican flags and calling for her resignation for comments she made that were, racist towards black folks and one of her colleagues. He's a white man who adopted a black kid, right? And so the comments were insensitive actually to both groups. Furthermore, she was on the phone with other council members, Kevin De Leon and Gil Cedillo. And apparently Kevin De Leon also made some disparaging comments in that call. I am not familiar with all those folks, but I am familiar with Kevin's reputation as someone who speaks up for justice. It's that liberal Democrat that liberals can rally behind. He checks the box. He's Latino. He's got the look. He's got the jargon down. He knows what to talk about. He proposes legislation that is in line with what the government wants anyways. Energy to go cleaner and do it through poor folks. And at the end of the day, the poor folks don't get the money. Consultants and middlemen get it. Anyways, I digress. So, not only does it set back black and brown relations because these folks are city council members. One was the president. As such, they are supposed to be impartial to all Angelinos. Everyone who lives in Los Angeles should be looked out equally by them. And so them doing that kind of broke a trust, and I'm sure the black community is in an uproar. Now, when this Mexican man in Oakland got killed, and his family had a press conference, and he was an immigrant, and he got killed in a way similar to George Floyd, the people that stood with his family was Black Lives Matter and a Stop Asian Hate group. I didn't see a lot of raza there. And so I always bring that up to negate comments that it's us against them. And I'm like, no, it's not us against them, because look, these folks were the only ones there with this Mexican immigrant family who was, who died at the hands of police. Well, I don't know what an investigation said. I'm not saying anything that, they were tried or anything. I don't know what happened. I know they had a press conference, and those were the folks there. On the same token, as mentioned, I saw the protest on the news of the people in front of Nuri's house asking her to resign from the city council altogether. And again, there was people there waving Mexican flags saying they don't like racism and they want her out. Beyond that, I do follow certain advocates on Twitter, and One is, I think, from CCAEJ, which is San Bernardino area. I remember they took me on a tour of the community and showed me some of the stuff around there. And the tweet was to the effect that, you know, Raza is vocal as hell when it comes to something, but they stay awfully quiet when it comes to their own racism. And it's the old guard. And so, this is, I also hear sometimes like the older heads say no one's speaking up for us. And I've consistently said that's not true. There's a lot of people who dedicate their lives to speaking up. And I think, this young lady that tweeted that is one of them. From what I've seen, she's dedicated her life to trying to bring justice and inequality to her neck of the woods. And that happens to be mostly barrios and Mexican folks, right? But she looks out for all because she's mad as well that, this happened. And so to the folks in the YouTube world trying to promote black and brown unity, I commend all your work. The folks that are in the news right now, though, are probably bigger than all you guys combined by orders of magnitude. Like, the world will probably look at this news story because LA is, a cultural center of the world in a lot of ways. And so it's bad news. It's unfortunate. I hope that if you guys see, I told you guys Mexicans were racist. I told you guys this is proof. The same way I would bring up Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate to deny that they were all racist because they were standing with Raza. You can turn around and say, look, man, if you agree with this, I'm not telling you what to say, but if you hear that, see, this is proof that, the Mexicans, the Raza is racist. You can say, no, look. Did you see who was protesting and asking for their resignation? It was also the Raza. It was people waving Mexican flags saying, get her out. Get him out. We don't want people like that representing us. So it's not everybody. And lastly, I'll close with this. I often hear so much, and a lot of times it's from people that have a street culture background. No one's representing us. No one's representing us. And like there's this image that it's just all white folks in politics. This was LA City Council. I believe 3 of those people at least, 3 of them I know at least were Raza, and one was the president. There could be more. I've watched the news, in like old news even, about Compton and the potholes they had. And it was like a whole community of black folks, couple Mexican folks, mad as hell at a black city council. And a Mexican guy up there too, who, I don't know what they were doing with the money, but the poor neighborhoods were suffering. And the poorer they were, the more they suffered. So there are people that look like us running the state, running the cities. And I think instead of looking at or saying there's no one that looks like us in power, recognizing there is, and then looking for ways to hold them accountable so that your community is not getting left behind. So that the same way they use those disparaging remarks about someone because they're black, they don't use them about you because you're an immigrant from Mexico. They don't use them about you because you're an immigrant from Central America. They don't use them about you because you've been to jail. They don't use them about you because maybe you smoke weed. That's a pinche marijuana. See what I'm saying? If they could do it to them, they could do it to you. Figure out how to hold your elected politicians accountable. Learn what they're doing. Call them out. And, it could be possible that both of them end up out of the city council, and here all these people, Raza, that believed in them, that helped them get there, are left out with who they thought was their choice. You gotta pick your leaders carefully if you gotta have one, because this didn't make a lot of people probably won't look good by this. Some fairly, most unjustly will get painted with the same brush as these two folks that were making these comments. That said, I hope you guys have a rest of your day that's good, and much love.